Hi, everyone. This is Suzanne. I'm so glad you're here. And I wanted to just let you know what this brief video is going to look like. I'm going to go ahead and start with a brief introduction into what I do and about this course I lead. And I also then am going to shift gears and introduce you to Aimee George, who is an amazing soul. And she has been part of this course that I'm leading called Embodied Vitality for over a year. But she's also a yoga teacher. She's been practicing Ayurveda for several years. She's a coach, a photographer, an entrepreneur, and just an all-around amazing person. So she's going to be here in a minute to also talk to you and tell you a little bit about her experience with the group and her experience with these practices. So, all right. So a little bit about kind of what I do. So I lead a group of women who individually have decided either maybe they've come to a crossroads in their life and they're ready to find their purpose. They're ready to make a change. They realize that something is not syncing up. Maybe their values aren't lining up with their habits. Maybe they're looking for something different. You know, kids are grown or they need a career change or a lifestyle change or whatever it is. Or they're just trying to figure out like what their truth is and what they really want to do in this lifetime. I mean, we get women in there who are looking for that. We also have women who come into the group who are looking just to finally once and for all take on their health. Like they're like, I am ready to put myself first. Like this is where the rubber meets the road. No more fooling around. And I want to live vibrantly. I want to age gracefully in this body that I have. And I'm ready. They're ready to say yes to that. So there's a lot of women in that. And when they do that too, people come for unique reasons, like maybe they want to lose weight or they're tired of feeling exhausted all the time. They might have insomnia, sleep issues. There might even be inflammation or diabetes or autoimmune diseases. So we really do get women who come with that side of those sort of things, health-wise as well. So, and they see great results in that. And then, then we also get women who are looking for community, who are just needing support, who are just realizing that they can't do this stuff alone. And I that's one of the huge things that I feel so excited about with this group is that we are indeed a group, that we meet together. Because I really do believe that we have the power to heal ourselves. I honestly believe that each one of us, when we pay attention, we are able to heal mentally, physically, emotionally. But I also believe that the power of the group is what really gives us traction. And that it helps us to know that we have some accountability, right? Accountability to ourselves and to each other. And that just really helps us each to flourish. So I believe that each one of us can grow. I believe that each one of us is always evolving, and that each one of us too can start to recognize our own ways that we self-sabotage, right? Our self-limiting beliefs, and we can start to break through that and then reach beyond that sort of glass ceiling that we put in place for ourselves. Okay, so on to Aimee George. So yeah, Aimee again is going to be here now. She's going to chat with us and tell us a little bit about her, just sort of her journey. And she's just an amazing person. So Aimee, you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you want. So Aimee, I wanted to go ahead and just ask you, first of all, if you would be willing to share kind of how are you feeling, or what was your life like? What were you experiencing, body, mind, whatever, habits, spirits, whatever that is. But what were you noticing before all these practices, before you joined the group?
Okay. Woo, that's a loaded question here. So, when I first discovered Ayurveda, it was Suzanne did an introduction 4-week course, and I got introduced to it there, and I was just infatuated with it from the beginning. I had a big crush on it, and I just wanted to know more. And I learned about the doshas, and things started to click. Now, during this time, I'm going to be honest, everything was kind of a wreck in my life. I was deep in alcoholism. I was struggling with eating disorders and eating issues. But underlying all of those things, I feel like there's imbalances that cause these things, that it's not truly about eating or alcohol or any other vices that we may have. And what Ayurveda and Suzanne did for me was introduce me to this science that explained everything and just gave it a way to learn about yourself and to learn to love yourself again without being judgmental, because it's science, right? You can't argue with facts. So it allowed me to remove myself a little bit and explore with curiosity. So that was sort of how I got introduced to the world of Ayurveda. I can go on and say I since have done yoga teacher training, and I'm a yoga teacher, and I did a Ayurveda life coaching course that was a 100-hour course. So I am an Ayurveda lifestyle coach and a yoga teacher, along with my photography ventures.
Wow, Aimee, so what I got from what you just said, or several things that kind of stood out to me, was that you kind of decided at some point where there was like maybe a breaking point or an aha moment or something where you had just decided for yourself, okay, enough is enough, it sounded like. And so then you made this decision to really kind of jump in. Would you have seen yourself like several years ago, would you have seen that would you have seen yourself where you are now as a yoga teacher or a coach, or just feeling the way you're feeling now? Like, would you have imagined that for yourself?
Absolutely not. When I met Suzanne that first, well, I met her before then, but when I took the 4-week course, um, I did not lead groups. I have always been a chatty person and had kind of a big, loud personality, but I've never dreamt that I would lead groups or lead others really in their mental and physical health to the depths that I do today. Um, I was intrigued, and like you said, I was fed up. Like where I didn't know how to balance myself. I didn't know how to care for myself. I didn't know how to treat myself with respect. And I was so far in these cycles that I didn't know how to pull myself out. And while I did jump in, you know, I was tired of my own excuses and cycles. I did jump in, but I'm not going to lie again that it has been a process, a practice, a learning journey that doesn't come overnight. It's been years since I've been evolving through this. And each day, each week brings up new challenges and new experiences of joy that I never ever would have imagined before. I recently have made some huge lifestyle changes. I purchased my first home, which is going to be a yoga and Ayurveda and an art gallery studio all together. And I truly believe that this course had a major, major role into making that happen, because I didn't have the confidence and trust in myself to do that before this course.
Yeah, thank you, Aimee. I that's a great testament there, because I think that So many of us think that we look at this course or we look at this sort of practice and it just seems like we're just going to do these. Oh, we're going to, talk about going to bed early or eating an early dinner or, meditating or whatever it is. And yet the benefits that we can't even imagine are out there. They're more subtle, but they are more as equally powerful, if not more so. Yeah. And I love that you opened up your new yoga studio. You'll have to come and visit it for sure. Is there, would you say that there's, going back to the practices though, would you say that there's one in particular that seems to really anchor you? Is there one in particular, like all the different things that we've been doing, is there one that you feel like you weren't doing before that will, yeah, anchors you?
Yes, I do. Which is the one that I've resisted and hated for so long.
Yeah.
So, um, the habit that I've struggled with the most has been the most beneficial and life changing, which is the first one that we encounter in the course, and it's earlier, lighter dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize now through this that you really have to prepare the night before for your next day.
Mm-hmm.
That the way you want to feel the next day, the way you want to feel when you open your eyes and see the sunlight, or maybe you wake in the dark,
Yeah.
really starts the night before. And my family and I had always had this habit of bedtime snacks. And this comes back to when I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
We would eat ice cream and popcorn, and it was just a nice little fun treat after dinner. And as I got older, I never questioned that until I got in this course. And when I questioned it, a lot of stuff came up, a lot of dirt came up. And it's taken me a couple of years to really dive deeper into this habit. And it wasn't until I've gotten the accountability of the group that I was able to make the change. And it's been, this course is in cycles, so you get opportunities to repeat the practice. So you don't have to dive in and do everything at once. Some habits are really come easy, and then others are more difficult. And with accountability, there's a lady in the group now that we just started 3 days ago, the first habit, and we've been texting every night. And every night I've kind of stuck to my guns. And this go round, I'm a rebel, so I like to break rules, and I like to break my own rules even. So if I set rules for myself, I'm like, ooh, another rule to break. So this other member and I have been texting each other, and it's just been wonderful. We're sharing our dinners, we're sharing our after dinner activities, and it just opens up so much more space to not be involved with food late or cleanup. So this habit, has really been, I don't want to say bittersweet, but it's been a challenge and the most beautiful thing, to eat this earlier, lighter dinner.
Wow, that's great. I knew that you were going to say that somehow. I just kind of knew.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
it.
But what stood out to me a little, well, there's a bunch of things, again, you always say such great things, but one of the things that stood out that you said about the habit of earlier, lighter dinner, and this is where it comes into, there's the habit, and then there's the bigger teaching from the habit. And that is, you said eating an earlier, lighter dinner is sort of like you are deciding or designing or whatever, how you want to feel the next day by, what you decide to eat the day before, what time you go to bed, and things like that. And so we know that we're already kind of designing the next day. And I think about that in the bigger picture. Each little small thing we're doing, right? Each thing that we're thinking, or every little thing we're changing is that same thing. We are continuously designing and deciding how we want to feel the next minute, the next hour, the next day, the next week, the next year, the next decade, you know what I mean? And so that we start to see this as like, wow, it starts out simple. Like, I just want to feel want to wake up with more clarity, and I want to feel more energized in the morning, into like, this is big. This is how I want my whole life to be, how I want to experience it. And then another thing that stood out to me was that it takes time, right? And that you need to be patient with yourself, and then having someone like your accountability partner. I love you too. You are so funny the way you're texting all the time, but that you have this person to kind of who's got your back, who's like there for you as like a support. And you can also tell your little secrets to, or, whatever, like, this is how I'm thriving. This is how I maybe slipped a little bit, and it's okay. We're there to support each other, and coach each other. So that's cool. Thank you, Aimee. Anything else you want to add?
I do want to add, I think that through this course, a lot of people give themselves a hard time for the habits that they haven't mastered yet. And for me, the earlier lighter dinner was the current challenge, but years ago, my morning practice was my challenge. And now my morning practice has become this big staple in my day. So there's no reason to feel rushed through this process. There's no reason to really be judgmental of the things that you aren't doing, because as you start this practice and as you start working these habits, there's some that are easy and then some that are hard. But as you evolve through it, you work through them in your own time. When you're ready, things open up and you hear things over and over. And then finally it clicks and you're like, yeah, I know that, but now I feel it and I know what it means. So my mornings are lovely. I wake up and drink a big quart of hot lemon water. And well, before that, I tongue scrape and brush my teeth, hot lemon water. I take a little triphala and Chavanon, and then later in the morning, I have all my props here ready. This wasn't planned, but it's just the time of day that I do this. This is my green smoothie. And so all these things have become a part of my life where they weren't at one time, and they were, some of them were not easy, but now they've just been incorporated into my life. And I can't imagine not having those things to ground me and keep me in this rhythm through the hard times also.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your props with us too. All your thing. I know, I realized I picked up my glass while I was talking to you, and I said, whoops, it's got my chlorophyll water in it, in case you're wondering what's in my glasses. We're both drinking green things this morning. Yeah, so. All right. Well, thanks, Aimee. And if anybody wants any photography, reach out to find me or Aimee George. You can also just reach out to me, and I will make sure that you get her contact info. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right, Aimee. Thank you. Bye, sweetie. Mwah.